The Flood. A plague capable of destroying an entire species. A virus capable of driving an entire species to extinction. The Flood, in the Halo universe, in ancient times, drive the Forerunners to extinction, being that the Forerunners were the most advanced sentient life in the universe. In Halo universe levels, the Forerunners have a technology level of 1, being the most proficient. Humans had a level 2 technology, but Forerunners were a level 1. Imagine that. Forerunners were even more advanced than the Covenant, and we all know that the Covenant are way advanced in technology than the humans. The Forerunners were even more advanced than the Covenant, and the Forerunners died at the hands of the Flood. Even a single floodspore is capable of destroying an entire species, an entire planet, an entire solar system, an entire galaxy. Even a single floodspore is capable of destroying an entire universe. But today, we do not care about the universe, we care about Earth. Today we're going to be talking about what if the Flood invaded Earth right now. With our current technology, we're not talking about Halo, we're talking about the real Earth from reality. So without further ado, Spartans, let's get right into this Flood infection video. But before I answer that question of what if the Flood invaded Earth right now, let's talk about who are the Flood, what is the Flood, who are they, what are they, etc. Flood is a plague, is a virus that infects any sentient life in their way. Once that life form is infected, it goes through the most bizarre, grotesque, and violent transformation you will ever see in your entire life. Becoming a Flood is violent, grotesque, and very painful. Just imagine how painful it is that a floodspore gets inside your nervous system and changes all your body in a blink of a second. Just imagine how painful is that. Without enough biomass, the Flood are just like mindless zombies running around, infecting everything that is on its way. But with enough biomass, the Flood can create a proto-grave mind, like a little general that commands Flood groups. And when the Flood gather enough biomass, a grave mind is created. Basically, the grave mind is the leader of the Flood, the leader that commands every single Flood combat form, pure form, career form out there in the universe. When a grave mind is created, the Flood become a single entity, capable of now destroying everything in its path. Just imagine a zombie apocalypse, okay? They are just mindless zombies, but we have seen Resident Evil, we have seen Dawn of the Dead, Shaun of the Dead, every single zombie movie, everything goes to absolute terror, everything is destroyed by the zombies. And we all know that the zombies can only infect you with a bite or with a scratch, but that's not the same with Flood. The way a Flood form can infect you is by biting you, scratching you, getting inside your body, but the most efficient way the Flood infects their enemies is by floodspores. Floodspores are basically bacteria. When a floodspore gets inside your nose, you are done, you are dead, you are going to become a Flood combat form in a matter of seconds. I think the only reason why Master Chief doesn't become a Flood combat form when exposed to the Flood is because the Mjolnir Mark 6, Mark 5, Mark 4, every Mjolnir set of armor has a little filter inside the helmet, and that's why Master Chief cannot be infected by the Flood. Or maybe by a floodspore. But okay, let's stop talking about the Flood in Halo universe and let's talk about if our Earth can or could survive a Flood invasion right now. Please leave a comment down below if you think that the Earth can survive a Flood invasion right now. Leave a yes, a no, and why. So now, let's begin. I've seen posts on Reddit, on Twitter, even on Facebook, even on Tumblr, stating that yes, the humans, Earth can survive a Flood invasion at this very moment in time. Why? Because they tend to separate the Halo universe from reality, and that's a good point because obviously the Halo universe is separate from reality, but when Bungie made Halo, they were taking into account the advancing technology in the present day, and we can see that in Halo, the UNSC uses technology that the humans right now uses, and that the humans at the moment of Halo will use in the future. Think of it this way. You are taking a walk in the park, then magically, out of mother freaking nowhere, a floodspore is teleported in that park on Earth. We all know that if a floodspore gets inside sentient life, that life is sentenced to become a combat form within seconds. One of the most dangerous things about the flood is how fast they are able to infect people. Within a matter of minutes, you will have at least more than 100 combat forms running wild, infecting other people. By the time the cops arrive, it will be too late. That 100 will be multiplied by 2. Do you really think that a couple of cops with only a 9mm pistol will be able to completely stop and eradicate a flood outbreak? Yeah, right. I thought the same thing. The only option the military government has at that moment is to do a massive quarantine zone across the whole city, sacrificing any human being that stays behind. Because we all know that even if a single floodspore is able to get out of the quarantine zone, everything will be doomed again. But okay, what's next? Obviously, a single quarantine zone will not be able to stop a flood infestation. Flood combat forms tend to amplify the strength of their host by at least 2, so it's hard to really say that a couple of walls will be able to contain the flood. Let's not forget that the flood are capable of using weapons, guns, knives, anything and everything that can be used to kill. They will learn how to use it. That's how they are. They are made to kill and to kill only. The safest way to approach this is by making the whole city into a quarantine zone. But what's after? What's after a quarantine zone? Obviously, we are human beings, and I know that there will be people that will try to save people that got trapped inside the city. If that happened to me, I will do the same thing. But as this is a video, we know that that will be a very bad idea. Let the people inside die. A little sacrifice for the entire of the world, it's not that bad. That's how we say it, because this is just a video for fun. But living that reality will be very different. Imagine if your entire family got trapped inside the city. I bet your butt you will go inside the city and try to save your family. I will do the same thing because I love my family and I do not want them to suffer. I do not want them to suffer what's like to become a flood combat form. Go through that transition. I don't want that to happen. Imagine if your entire family was trapped inside the city. You will do everything in your power to save them. That is only one of the ways a flood will be able to escape the quarantine zone, because of the people that will try to get inside the city, breaking the walls, breaking the doors, breaking whatever, and let the flood get out. And I'm not even taking into account the sheer power and force the flood carry around. Talking about in-game mechanics, the flood are capable of killing a Spartan 2 with melee attacks. With 1 or 2 melee attacks, a Spartan 2 is done. And we all know that the Spartan 2 weighs, with all the armor, well, it weighs about 1 ton. Imagine how strong a flood must be to kill a Spartan 2 that weighs a ton and has energy shields with 2 hits. Imagine how strong that flood form must be. At this moment, the government military knows that the only way to eradicate this threat is by nuking the whole damn place, even sacrificing neighbor cities, because with a threat this deadly, and one that is rapidly increasing in size, in force and in magnitude, a nuke on a radius way bigger than the infected area would seem like a great idea. Isn't that correct? To some of you that will be correct, but hell no. Hell no. Yes, maybe the majority of the flood combat forms will be completely destroyed, but what about the flood spores? We're not even taking into account the flood spores. You can't get rid of those that easily, and the cycle of contain, nuke, and outbreak will repeat and repeat until the earth is completely destroyed. Human weapons will be completely useless against the flood. Yes, bullets can kill a combat form, as seen in the Halo games, but at what costs? 6 mags of an M16 on a single combat form? Talk about OP, oh my god. A fast way of killing a flood combat form is by burning them with a flamethrower, with grenades, something to burn them because they are biomass, and when the biomass is consumed by the flames, the flood have nothing to do. They cannot move, they cannot do anything. But even so, after they are burned, they will rush towards you with great force. After all I said, I'm not even taking into account a proto-grave mind, and even I'm not taking into account a freaking grave mind. When a flood assimilates with a human, it will absorb all of its knowledge, and it will search for ways that humans can destroy the flood, and then the flood, with that knowledge, will counter it. They learn so much of us and our technology and our culture by the second. That's how the flood are. They invade, they infect, they learn about the culture and technology about the humans or the species they are invading and infecting, and then they freaking destroy the planet. Okay, think of it this way. When the Flood were accidentally released on the Halo Ring in the first game, UNSC and Covenant forces couldn't do a thing to stop them. The Flood just kept on devouring anything in their path. This was a scenario with thousands of highly trained soldiers, human and alien alike, Marines, ODSTs, grunts, jackals, elites, even brutes, who were destroyed by the Flood outbreak from a facility built to study them. The Flood were contained inside the Halo Ring in a very small number, and they were still able to kill the elite of the elite force of the UNSC and the Covenant. The Flood were still in their most basic stage of infection, and the most advanced form was the proto-grave mind, the one who infected Keys, who barely had any biomass, honestly. In Halo 3, Commander Miranda Keyes says if the Flood spread throughout Earth, the planet is doomed. But this same scenario on present-day Earth, and our weapons will be used against something that is worse than a zombie apocalypse. Flood spores would be airborne within a matter of days, and even the animals will be affected and killed. Everything will eventually die, and our planet will be consumed by an ancient evil. So what if the Flood invaded Earth right now? In a matter of days, the Earth will be completely consumed and doomed by an ancient evil.
Fine. We'll remain here. Hold out as long as we can.
Did you not hear? Your world is doomed. A Flood army, a grave mother, has you in its sights. You barely survived a small contamination.
And you, shipmaster, just glassed half a continent. Maybe the Flood isn't all I should be worried about.
One single flood spore can destroy a species. Were it not for the Arbiter's Council, I would have glassed your entire planet.
Okay guys, that's what I think about what if the Flood invaded Earth. Please leave a comment down below what do you think about the answer and what do you think about the video. If you like it, leave a like if you did because it helps me a lot. And so okay guys, that is all for today. If you guys liked the video, slap a like on it. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye bye, take care, and I love you very much. Thank you for watching guys. I really do appreciate it. Bye bye. Mwah.